We live.
All right, all right, all right. We are live. This is a good day. This is a great day. It really is. It really is. Because we got one of our favorites, a long-standing guest of this show who knows she has an open invite whenever she wants, and Dellan Sellars on the show. So of course we're gonna be talking some WNBA, and we in the WNBA finals. Think about how good how amazing that is. We got somebody that works for the WNBA coming on here when we got the WNBA. By the way, she is solely responsible. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise for getting Spike Lee to be courtside at a finals game in New York, because he wasn't gonna get no chance no other way. The Nets and the Knicks was not giving him no chance, and Dellan came and told bro, hey, bring your ass, come on, and he bought his ass. But we got to talk the WNBA finals, of course. We got to talk Dallas catching some big D in the never mind. Dallas getting whooped on Jerry Jones' birthday. We got to talk, you know, of course, with Dellan here, we got to talk the Ravens and the Commanders. You know, even though the fandom ain't necessarily what it used to be, we got to talk about that. And we got a lot of trades going on in the NFL. And we're going to start it off with something I don't think nobody going to agree about in J. Cole's new single, Port Antonio. Y'all ready to get into it?
I'm ready for it.
Yes, sir.
All righty, let's do it. Let's do it. What's up, y'all? Have a seat. It's your favorite hour of the week with the Facts Over Axe crew. We got the master, the mixed master, Josh Guyton in the building.
That is I.
We got the money man, the man with the plan, Chris Allen in the building.
Right here, right here.
And then you got the little old MC, that's me, with our esteemed guest, our very esteemed guest, Dellan Sellars. And she's much too humble to do that thing that guest pastors do where they sit there with their head down the whole time, just like waiting to get brought up. She's been showing the pearly whites the whole time. How you doing, Dellan?
Hey, y'all. Happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're super excited to have you. Now, I want to give you the floor first on this, Dellan, because I know that you are big into the music scene as well as you are into the sports scene. Tell me what you thought about J. Cole's new single, Port Antonio.
I hate to disappoint you guys. I haven't even listened to it.
Oh, my Lord.
I'm so chronically behind on music right now.
My God. You know, I understand. It is. See, and I don't even know why I did that, knowing that it's the WNBA finals and she works for the WNBA. I don't know why my mind didn't register. This is going to be the busiest time of the year for her.
It's on the to-do list. I will listen to it.
We're going to get around to it. It's all right. It's all right. Josh, what you thinking?
Lame. Very lame. Super lame.
Talk to me. Why was it lame?
Because we're in a situation to where at the crux of it, like before it turned into this whole ugly, like, you know, you got hidden kids and you beat your lady. At the crux of it, this was just a beef about
hold on. You think the hidden kids is the worst allegations to come out of this?
No.
I'm just asking.
I was just saying everything that encompassed what the beef turned into. At the start
I hope I didn't strike a chord there. I mean, you know, but anyway, proceed.
At the crux of it, it was just about friendly competition, right?
Right.
And for the better part of this entire, you know, chronicle going all the way back to 2013 when Kendrick dropped Control, this really has been like, not necessarily friendly competition, but it's been like a tit for tat on who's the best between Drake and Kendrick.
Right.
And I feel like from how he's portrayed himself in music and with how often he dropped, J. Cole kind of inserted himself into that conversation.
Really?
I think he helped a lot with inserting himself into that conversation, because if you listen to any J. Cole track from after he had a classic with 2014 Forest Hills Drive, between KOD and the Off Season, which was his latest studio album, most of the music on there is him talking about how he's one of the best. So when you finally had a chance to be a part of the competition and you bowed out gracefully, I don't want to hear 5 months later how you could have won if you didn't back out.
Yeesh.
You had a chance to prove that you were going to win this battle. You had a chance to prove that you were better than Kendrick, and you didn't take the opportunity. That's like if I saw Gibbs and Chris, y'all get into a fight. All three of us started scuffling. I was like, you know what? I'm too mature for this. I'm going to back out. And then 5 months later, I'm like, you know, I could have whooped y'all ass if I really tried. Like, no, I missed my opportunity.
That's fair. That's fair.
So from a technical perspective, it's a very good song because J. Cole can rap. Like, it's no, you know, we're no strangers to the fact that J. Cole can rap. But that don't make it not lame.
That's fair. That's a very fair take on this thing. Chris, what you thinking?
So here's the thing. I mean, I agree with you, Guyton, but you know, if you gonna play this card right here, right? You gotta come heat and just gotta start cooking niggas, bro. I mean, cooking people. You just gotta start cooking people. You gotta literally just start sending shots and grenades and start beef back up. Like it's like for your example, me and Gibbs and start scrapping. You jump in and say, "Oh, I'm gonna get out of it." You next time you see me and Gibbs, you gotta jump on us and prove a point, right? You gotta make sure you stomp us out when you done beating us up. You know what I mean? Like
getting off the train on head of state type time.
Yeah, you gotta come on smack. Yeah, next time you see me, I'll eat some food. It better be on the ground. You feel me? Like you better smack that hot dog, burger, whatever in my hand.
I'll tell you exactly how impactful this song was in terms of him trying to contribute to this already like died down beef. So the song dropped, if I'm not mistaken, the song dropped last Thursday?
I think so, something like that. Yeah.
When did you hear the song, Gibbs?
I heard it like 2 days later. I want to say.
When did you hear it, Chris?
I heard it yesterday, low key.
And the line, you still haven't gotten into it. So it's one of those songs that's like, I get around to it.
Oh, that's nasty words.
Not like us dropped at 11 a.m.
Hey,
I promise
we was at work. We was at work and
all
stopped.
four of us was listening to it.
It was on the radio by then.
When that man said certified lover boy, certified pedophile, I said, hold up. You moving different, my boy. I'm gonna tell you this. My thing on it is this. Not only is it like lame, it's actually kind of sad. It's like it's really sad to me from the point of like, we get it, you like peace. You don't have to explain to us every 3 business days how much you like peace. Like, it is wholly unnecessary for you to every quarter to hey, I ain't told these niggas in about 3 months. Hey, I like peace, y'all. That's why I backed out. Because I like peace so much. And you know the worst part about it? We all know somebody like that. We all know somebody that's always like, I'm moving in silence. They be loud as hell. Like, that person is the person that's like, I don't allow no fakeness in my life, no negativity in my life. They're the most negative human being you have ever been around.
For my personal favorite, than people that make a social media post, like, I'm getting off of social media, y'all.
Yeah. Oh my God. And he's
that
guy.
48 hours later, they be back on.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing that makes this most lame to me. Here's what makes it most lame to me. We all heard 7-minute drill. That's what makes it the most lame to me. Cause it's not like you just like heard them two going at it. It was like, oh nah, bro, this ain't. We friends. Yeah. What's going on? You thought that you could jump in and you was gonna make an impact. You saw how everybody received that song, and you was like, actually, I'm good here. I'm all right. I'm all right. If we comparing it to us 3 fighting, that's like me punching Josh and be like, oh no, he got an MMA chin, bro. I'm good for real. Hey, y'all boys be safe. Y'all take it easy. And then me coming back like, hey, just let y'all know. You know what I mean? My hands is registered weapons. They lethal. Like, bro, stop. Just go.
I ain't gonna
I feel like all the losers out of this battle just need to like go on somewhere and just make regular music again. You know what I mean? Just like take a hiatus.
Yeah, the hiatus,
and then just make regular music. Just
like people might forget, Cole has dropped multiple times since the beef.
And that's what I'm saying. Take a hiatus.
Drake has dropped 15 songs since the beef.
Don't remind me. Do you know how crazy it is to get accused of being not black enough, and then you hop on the track with a shorty that's so racist she had to go to therapy about it? That's crazy. Bro said, who's the best person? He said, I can't say N-word no more. Guess what? I'm going to get on the track with another white shorty that said it too.
You don't want to say it no more. And the next song he dropped said, he rapping like he tried to get the slaves free.
Again, that is a Caucasian woman's son. If I ain't never seen it in my life, boy, I tell you, I'm surprised his name ain't Caden, for Christ's sake. But anywho, folks, we got to get into these sports because we got the WNBA finals that many people did not want, but it looked like the game needed in some aspects, right? You have the Minnesota Lynx, who are as storied of a team as there is in the WNBA, because a certain team that's also in the Midwest is gone now, but you have as storied of a professional team as there is. And then, of course, you have the New York Liberty, Stewie trying to get her a ring, all the things with Sabrina Ionescu, who many people say was a certain person before a certain person got to the W. But, you know, we ain't going to go there right now. Dellan, please tell us, what are your thoughts on this WNBA final so far? Because I've been thoroughly entertained, but tell me, what you think?
Okay, we'll start off with bring back the shot. I'll admit that very much needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Free the shot. Free the shot.
Shot till it's backwards.
I was admittedly one of the people who did want the Aces back in the finals, but this finals is panning out to be exactly what everybody needed to see, which is just pure like hoops, just straight hoops.
Good bump, boys. Beautiful.
You got two UConn ballers that won championships alongside each other, dueling, like just exchanging blows. Stewie versus Fee has been insane to watch, and it's really making people stop and recognize just how great Nafisa Collier is, because she's been having one of those seasons to the point where she was in the MVP conversation alongside Asia Wilson, who of course was the undisputed MVP. But, you know, with Fee being defensive player of the year, she's showing why she got some of those votes too. So just seeing those two teams go head to head and making people stop and watch and be like, oh my God, like, nah, this is real hoops right now. It's been really fun.
And you know what the best part about it has been for me personally? Watching the narratives go away from basketball. Like, that has been just watching just hoops. Just that game one was so crazy. And it felt different but better than even the NBA finals in some regard. Because the NBA finals, regardless of who's playing, it's always wrapped up in narratives. But because most people who, and we're going to get into them in a minute, but most people who got into the W this year do not understand the storylines, right? Like if you were like, hey, tell me about Copper. Tell me about her. What does she do well? Where are her weak points? They would have no clue. It's, hey, go ahead, tell me about Chelsea Gray one time. Just tell me what, it would be a lot of confusion going on there. There was no narratives, just watching good hoops and analyzing this as hoops, and that was thoroughly enjoyable there. And so, with that in mind, let me ask you this: who do you have winning this series outright?
Oh my God, it's so hard. It's legit night to night. It's so hard. I really think it's going to end up coming down to 5, and if it does, I see it going to the Liberty, just because it'll be back in Brooklyn and right. Barclays when they have that full arena is insane, and Sabrina is on such a tear right now. Like, she is so hungry for this championship. After the end of the first round, she was talking and said that they had unfinished business when they were going into that matchup with the Aces. The Dream was still on the floor. Like, she has been so locked in on this finals run. She doesn't care about anything else.
She said, excuse me, Ron Howard. Insane. I don't, ma'am, you don't exist right now. Let's just.
First round was cool. I'm trying to smack the Aces, and I'm trying to get back to the finals. That's where she is mentally. Betnijah Laney Hamilton has been insane. Courtney Vandersloot, old as dirt, but still doing her thing. Like, they just have so many different pieces that are contributing to what they're doing outside of just Stewie.
That Courtney Vandersloot pull right there, I watched and I said, wait a minute, she's still hooping? I thought that I cared about the W a lot. I thought I cared about the W a lot. I said, what the hell, Courtney Vandersloot? When Courtney started playing, I had a firm hairline. You understand? I had waves. Josh had a high top. That's how long ago this was.
Is that a lie?
It's great to see. It's great to see. But now let's talk about the fact that this WNBA Finals has one of the highest ratings that we have seen, despite there not being, you know, the Angel Reeses, the Caitlin Clarks, the Asia Wilsons involved in this thing. What do you think that is attributed to? Because let's be honest, right? We all know the casuals are the casuals, and a lot of the casuals that came to the W this year, again, we're going to get to them in just a second, but we're seeing a great growth in this game right now. What do you attribute that to?
I would say it's a gradual growth of women's basketball altogether. I think college basketball has done a great job in just kind of building the hype around women's hoops. And then, of course, there are going to be that subsection of people that are hate watching. Yeah. And then there are going to be the group of people who are watching just to, you know, kind of stay in the know about what's going on the non-NFL days. Like, we have a game tomorrow, and that falls on a pretty great day on the schedule, a Wednesday game. So just people staying in the loop, people wanting to be in the loop of women's basketball because it's something that's trending upwards for the first time in a really long time.
I'm going to tell you something. A Wednesday night, y'all ain't compete with nothing but Bible study and action. Y'all will be okay. The W will be just fine. They'll be just fine in that regard. But now let's get into let's get into like all of it, right? All of it, the whole thing, the good, the bad, the ugly from this WNBA season. As somebody who is so close to this thing, right? As somebody who has worked in and around the W for as many years as you have, please tell me what your thoughts are on the entire season as a whole, regular season, the growth that we saw, some of the nationals we saw, all of it. What do you think?
This has been one of the most chaotic seasons of my life in a good and bad way.
Right.
The way people have acted on both sides of the spectrum of fandom. So I'm talking the people who are super white supremacists under the guise of being Caitlin Clark fans, and the people who are so anti-Caitlin Clark that they are just shooting down any and everything that's posted about her.
Yeah.
It's just been a lot. It's been a lot of it's either this way or that way and nobody just thinking clearly. But with that comes a lot of eyes, a lot of discussion, which at the end of the day is engagement, which is money. So it's been a great thing. It got a little reckless at the end of the season. I think with the season going a little longer than usual because of the Olympics, maybe people started to get a little fatigued with the storylines and things like that, which, trust me, I get it. But I think there are ways that we can and should handle it moving forward internally and externally without it getting weird. But I think weird fandom is just where we are in society as a whole, unfortunately, which is why when people speak out about it on the on the WNBA side, you have people that are like, oh, well, we deal with that on the NBA side too, or NFL side too. And it's just like, what if everybody was just normal and we didn't like stalk people and try to dox them when they mess up your parlay? Like, what if we're just normal fans? We don't have to say that that's how it is. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this: betting on the WNBA is kind of crazy. Like, if you just woke up one day and said, "I'm about to just bet on the WNBA," and you like a casual, that's kind of crazy. And then to be mad somebody lose when you don't even, you're not even in tune with the sport like that is kind of crazy, right? I mean, it's crazy to cuss out somebody for selling your parlay at that, but you just woke up and decided, "I'm just gonna start watching the WNBA today, and I'm gonna put a bet in and being mad about it." That's crazy. But Dellan, I want to ask you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you too. So, negativity sells in this world. It just does. Negativity, things that I'm not going to name sell as well with old men. That's all I'm going to leave it at. Things that sells with old men.
Chris, go.
And villains sell, right? So right now, the WNBA kind of has that hero and villain with the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, right? Everybody trying to say Angel Reese not a hooper, this, that, or whatever. And then, Caitlin Clark is put on this pedestal, right? So how you feel about that? Is that good for the W, or is that like one of those things where you want them to just be normal fans again, right? I personally think that it's somewhat good because, Magic and Larry back in the day, and I know I'm tired of people comparing them to that too, but Magic and Larry back in the day, if you go back and watch like the media and all that around that was fun. That was fun times back then to me. So
I think it's good until it's not, and it's funny that you made that comparison because that comparison was made, and then that's when things went very left when it came to like WNBA talk, because of course, you know, parody is good and, you know, you need the hero and the villain, but sometimes it becomes a thing where people become desensitized to the athletes altogether and just start completely losing their minds after a while. And it doesn't just happen on a fan level. Sometimes it can happen on a league level as well, because you're so dialed into those numbers, that engagement. You're not even thinking about how the athletes are being affected by these storylines, because you're just seeing the engagement. So I think that's something that kind of ended up happening in the league, where people internally and externally were just so dialed in on Caitlyn versus Angel that they lost sight of Caitlyn and Angel, both of them, and they kind of got ran into the ground for the sake of engagement, for the WNBA, for ESPN, for Bleacher Report. Anybody who wanted to touch women's basketball was touching women's basketball because they knew it was going to get them numbers. And there was people who didn't care about women's basketball months, not even just years ago, months ago. People who were, where you would mention the WNBA, they would laugh, or they would just say kitchen or something like that. You know what I mean? Now it's something that everybody's touching, and it's just like, even if it's not something that's genuine, they know that they're going to get the engagement for it. But sometimes that engagement is just so negative and so hurtful that personally I would just rather go without it. When we got out of the first round and we didn't have as many teams involved anymore, I did such an exhale of relief, because yeah, I knew I was losing a lot of numbers, but I knew I didn't have as much pressure on me anymore. And that's not something that I want to feel, because of course more numbers means more money, more engagement, things like that. But if it's at the cost of my mental health, I don't really know if I'm willing to give that up.
Right. That's fair. And I'll tell everybody listening to this, okay? F them jobs, all right? If it's killing you like that, listen, you can find another job, and I promise your job gonna try to find another you, okay? If you drop dead on that job, I am a recruiter. I promise you. Here's what we gonna do. Hey, open up a requisition, please. We need a new social media manager. Sure thing, boss.
They gonna clock you out first.
Hey, that's it. Let me tell you, they might leave you on the clock because they know, hey, we ain't got to pay her for real. We gonna commit some labor violations around this thing. Hey, don't stop the tweet she had saved now. Let's go ahead and post them draft. But let me ask you this, right? Because I thought it was so interesting. I really did understand immediately the you know, the white supremacy and the misogynoir and all that. I saw that pop out immediately. One thing that it took me a bit longer to get was the other side of that, where it wasn't until the Liberty eliminated the Aces and Asia Wilson, multiple-time MVP, put on a historic season where she set a record for points and rebounds. She's like the woman Will Chamberlain, just without putting up 20,000 off the court. Shout out to Bam. You know what I mean? Hey, Bam, you don't need everything. You can give us something, but that's neither here nor there. She put up 19 and 10, and I remember somebody tweeted, MVP putting up 19 and 10 in an elimination game, that's nasty work. And the replies and the quotes to that were like, you hate black women. It was like, no. Wait a minute now. I get.
Whoa.
Because if Brian put up 19 and 10, I would be disappointed. I would be not my glorious king. No. Lord, I'm playing. You know you're on the king, but that's neither here nor there. But in all seriousness, you know, I would be sitting there confused. So it was a moment. It was a wake up moment for me in terms of that. Did you have one of those wake up moments for like, oh no, it's not just them, or did you see it right away because of how close you are to it? Like, oh, all y'all done lost y'all damn mind. You break out with the Steve Harvey. Y'all crazy as hell. All y'all crazy as hell immediately.
I think I had that moment kind of around May, June, when it was just typical season things that were happening and Asia may not win it. And it was automatically, y'all hate her. And it was just like, but did you see the game Fee had? Like, okay, she's going to win Western Conference Player of the Week this week. I'm sorry. It became a thing where if you're not giving this to this player, you hate her. And I know it comes from wanting to protect and, you know, block from hate and things like that. But then it gets to a point where you're not allowed to criticize or have an honest conversation about a player, which I feel like is very integral to covering a player. Like, we're not it. Well, media isn't PR. They're media. You know, you're supposed to discuss the good and the bad. Fans are going to discuss the good and the bad, and you're going to get jokes. The WNBA isn't some special league where you can't crack jokes. If you want to be a part of the mainstream that comes with fans cracking jokes, and you know you can crack jokes without it going as far as misogynoir, but that one joke about MVP not putting up enough points was funny and was valid. You know, it was a closeout game. Asia didn't put up as much as she could have or should have because she was dishing the ball to her other teammates. That's what happened. But no, it's something that I definitely noticed early in the season, and I think it's something that a lot of people noticed through the playoffs as people were commenting more on Asia because they want to protect her so much that they just kind of think that any criticism is hate, and that's just not the truth.
Right, and there's so much room for the existence in the middle, right? I think everything in life functions on the bell curve where, like, if you never get rain, you're going through a drought. You're living in the desert. That's a problem, right? There's a good amount of rain where it's like, okay, we can have some good vegetation there. And then it's like, all right, we flooding. This is not, it shouldn't rain for 40 days and 40 nights, baby. We need to work this thing out. And I think that that's a lot of what we're seeing with the WNBA. But let me ask you this, and we're going to move on from the WNBA to Dallas and what happened in Jerry World. Because I tell you what a time. What a time it was in Jerry World for my Detroit Lions. But in all seriousness, when you look at the growth of the game and you look at the overall arc of where the game is going, do you feel like it's going in the right direction, right? Because, you know, we talked about J. Cole at the beginning of this thing and what his track was like, but the quote from him, the good news is, brother, you came a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way, right? It's that thought of, are you going the wrong way? When you look at the overall arc of where the WNBA is going, do you feel like it's in the right direction, or are you like, hey, it's growing, but this is cancerous growth. We need to course correct immediately?
I feel like that's pretty much what it is. The product itself, the on-court product, is growing in a very great direction. The coverage of it, not necessarily growing in that same direction. I feel like people need to just stop and take a breath for a second. Maybe like do a little more reading, do a little more inner work, because figure out if this is something that you really want to cover, if it's something you really want to talk about, if it's something you really care about. You know, it's hard to really devote time and energy to something you don't care about. If you don't care about women's sports, don't touch the league. But also, I feel like people just need to come into it with a little more nuance. Yeah. Everything doesn't have to be so black or white. She's either trash or she's the GOAT. Like, sometimes a player is just a great player that had a bad game. Right. So if we could just all just take a breath and be more normal at the conclusion of this season and going into next season, I feel like we'll be in a much better place, especially because the league's just about to keep growing. We have even more star power coming in the next few years with Paige Beckers, Flage's about to come out soon, Juju's coming soon. We have expansion teams coming.
I can't wait for Juju, dog.
I can't wait for Juju either.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you this.
Juju's so cold, bro.
I got one rule. I got one rule for WNBA coverage. If your only compliment for your grown adult daughter is that her hair is real, shut up about the WNBA. Shut up.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to bring me on here for a whole another segment when it comes to that, man, because I have way too much to say about him.
What you got to say about a skill? What you got to say about a skill?
I would
that
like
man
to
is a mess,
add, Don, you can agree if you would like, but I like to remind people all the time that the WNBA is still a relatively new organization, even though it had a blueprint to kind of follow because the NBA was already there. The first year of the WNBA was 1995, so next season will be 30 years. I would like to compare that to where do you think other sports organizations were as far as growth, as far as being able to present the game. I mean, the NBA started in 1947, and in 1977, the NBA was in a far, far worse place than where the WNBA is.
They were battling with the ABA, weren't they? At that time,
battling with the ABA. The NBA Finals was on tape delay. Like, you couldn't watch the WNBA. You could watch the NBA Finals live. It was on tape delay.
That's nasty as hell.
And three. We're not a PG show anymore. They was doing cocaine at halftime. I think the WNBA is in a much better place than where the NBA was 30 years into its fruition.
People really have to remember, a lot of the people who are so judgy of the league are older than the league. I'm older than this business that I work for, but also we're up against misogyny, like just as a whole. Yeah. Right. And not even just up against sports fans, misogyny in partnerships and businesses. There was an excerpt that came out from years ago where the head of ESPN was just like, yeah, no, I'm not putting the WNBA on ESPN. They can have ESPN too. So when you're up against things like that and you're already a league that's like decades behind all the other major leagues, you know, you're putting your hand on a very slippery rock trying to climb up. So we're climbing, but you know, we're up against some stuff, but we climbing.
And I'm gonna tell you this much. I'm proud of y'all for climbing. And, you know, you're headed in the right direction, unlike certain very old people who want to keep the country in another direction, like Jerry Jones. Shout out to Jerry. You know, his birthday just passed. He turned, what, 1,006? I know, boy, I'll tell you what, of all the stories that I've heard from Jerry Jones, I'd love for him to tell me, what was Jesus actually like? That's the one I want to hear. What was he? Was he actually skin of copper hair? What did he look like? But in all seriousness, the Cowboys got beat bad. They got the brakes beat off. It makes my heart smile to think about them boys losing 47-9. 47. Almost got a 50 burger hung on them. The worst loss since Jerry Jones bought the team in, what was it, 1989 or 84? Which one was it? Was it
4.
It was somewhere in there, 84. There we go. Josh, that's why you are stat guy. We appreciate you. With that being said, Dellan, I'm going to start with you. Which team did this game say more about, the Cowboys or the Lions?
I feel like naturally I'm going to say it said more about the Cowboys because every season, the season starts with media saying this is the Cowboys' year. This is the Cowboys' year. And I just feel like with games like this, it makes people kind of really pause and reflect, especially when they happen in October. People always talk about the December fall aparts and the postseason fall aparts. Games like this matter. Like you lost like that. Was that a home game for them?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
You lost like that at home on the Star. Like that's disgusting. That says a lot about them. Of course, you have to tip your hat to Detroit for playing such a dominant game. Like Detroit won that game. They won the hell out that game. But my God.
I'll tell you what. What a great time. Chris, we are inviting you in. This is the call to worship. If you want to come on in to the room with us Lions fans, we're willing to allow you back, brother. Hey, what did Kirk Franklin say? No matter how far you go, you can always come home. Come on home, Chris. Come on home, the Lion fans.
Listen.
I know you're tired of the Steelers doing you, bro. Come on.
Listen. I like the Lions. I'm rooting for the Lions. You know, they the NFC. They got nothing to do with me till we get to the bowl, right? They ain't got nothing to do with me. But these my guys, man. These my guys.
Get to the bowl.
These my guys. Yeah, these my guys.
Russell Wilson take you all to the bowl in the year of our Lord and Savior 2024.
Hey, man, I'm going to call Tomlin tonight. I got a call with Tomlin. I got a call with Tomlin tonight.
We're going to discuss some things,
you know. And you know, I got to tell him, like, I don't like the decisions you're making right now. You're the most winningest coach in Steelers history, but this is not going to work for me. It's not going to work for me. But anyway, I mean, I'm kind of picking y'all back off of the line right here, right? This says so much about the Cowboys because we knew the Lions was good last year, right? And you know, them beating a beat up Cowboys teams, this is what they supposed to do, right? The Lions came into this game as the favorites in this game, right? So this is what you expect from the Lions. The Cowboys, on the other hand, right? I don't even think Dak threw for 200 yards. I don't even think Dak threw for 200 yards. Dak Prescott just got a contract extension for $200 million plus money. And he didn't even throw 200 yards at home in a 4:00 special game on national television for America's team. Okay? So I don't want to hear nothing about the Cowboys no more. Every year is the Cowboys year. Every year the Cowboys say they're going to do this, say they're going to do that. But the Cowboys, if you bring up the Cowboys with me again, it's going to be a problem because I ain't drinking no more Cowboys Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking no more Cowboys Kool-Aid.
drinking Cowboys Kool-Aid in 2024, you might as well go to Jonestown and drink their Kool-Aid, because it's gonna kill you every time. It's gonna do you wrong.
Jonestown, it's crazy.
It's gonna do you wrong every single time. God rest the souls of the people who were lost there. But I'm just saying, believing in the Cowboys in 2024, that's delusion at its finest. Josh, what you got for us? Who does this game say more about, the Cowboys or the Lions?
I say this game says more about the Lions, and here's the reason why. I've said on this show before, and I'll reiterate it again. This is the true year where we find out what the Lions are made of. 2 seasons ago, the Lions had a mediocre season. Last year, they had a breakout season, but as you know, all of us have played sports, we know that first year that the team is hot, we've watched enough sports to know that can just be a hot year. You could have just called lightning in a bottle. This is the year where the Lions have put the league on notice, and the entire league is anticipating the Lions to come out there and punch them in the mouth. And the Lions have stepped up to the call. We knew that the Cowboys were trash. I know we came into the season and everybody saying, this is the Cowboys year, but we're not Cowboys fans. We know better. Even if you thought the Cowboys were going to have a decent year, we've known we're in week 6. We're for sure certain that they're trash. Now, do you know that there's only been one team in the history of the NFL throughout the first 6 weeks have not touched 15 points by halftime in their first 6 games?
It's just the Cowboys this year?
Just the Cowboys in the history of the game.
And y'all know what?
If we made it all the way to week 6 and you didn't believe that the Cowboys was trash, after we saw what the Saints did to them, and what was that, week 2?
Yeah.
You should have went ahead and got your affairs in order after that.
I'm going to say this. To me, this game says more about the Lions, but you got to look at it not just with the context of this game. You got to look at it with the context of this season. There's only one team with a better plus minus than them in the NFL. Only one. Only one team. The Lions are whooping the wheels off of folks. And don't get me wrong. I know that more of the games they played were close than not. But I'm saying they're finding ways to get it done in blowouts. They're finding ways to get it done in close games. They are just finding ways to win football games. And here's the most important part. Y'all do realize the Lions took their foot off the gas in that game. Yeah. Dan Skipper was playing wide receiver, dog. What are we doing here?
Hooker was out there too, wasn't he?
Yeah. Hendon Hooker was out there. Shout out to Hendon Hooker, man. Shout out to Hendon Hooker. We love Hendon Hooker for obvious reasons we won't say on the show. We love us Hendon Hooker. You know what I mean? We love him. We love him. So, you look at this and you sit here and you say, man, the Lions really took these boys to the woodshed and took their foot off the gas. They should have mashed it all the way, if you ask me. They should have mashed it all the way, but it's all right. It's all right. This is one of those things where, again, we hate the Cowboys. The Cowboys hate us. All's fair in love and war. And, again, every Cowboy not named Jordan Lewis, more power to you. You can go straight to hell, buddy. Anywho, and that's a little baby rivalry. But we got to talk about what's going on in the DMV because, of course, we got the line here. So we got to talk about it. We got to talk about what's going on with the Washington Commanders and the Baltimore Ravens because we were hearing rumbles. We were hearing, oh, man, Jaden Daniels, he might be better than Lamar. We were hearing, oh, man, the Commanders, they coming out of nowhere. This is new and upstart. We were hearing, oh, Lamar off to a 0-2 start, even with Derrick Henry. This team, we just don't know what they are. Lo and behold, once again, 8 prevails. Dellan, what are your thoughts about this game with the Ravens and the Commanders?
I feel like I was probably the only person in the DC metropolitan area who went into this game with the I just hope both teams have fun mindset. I love both of those quarterbacks so much. I love what Jaden is doing for the Commanders. I don't think y'all understand the feeling that's in the air in DC and the surrounding community. Has not felt like this since Robert Griffin III was here. And it even rivals that. The way that he has just really woken up the feeling of good football in the area that we haven't felt in over a decade is just really something crazy. This is the first time in years that I've seen actual Washington fans fill up the stadium. But at the same time, just as a NFL fan in general, the consistent disrespect and disregard for Lamar Jackson coming off of an MVP year and just who he is as a player, I can just never wrap my mind around. So when people were comparing those two quarterbacks, it honestly kind of threw me off because yes, Jayden is having a great year, but he's a rookie. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna have ups and downs. He's gonna have games that he loses because he's going up against a better competitor. So that's how I went into this game thinking, if the Commanders lose, they lose, but I just hope that they compete. So when I ended up seeing that they lost by one score, I wasn't disappointed. I think that Jayden held his own. When I was looking at his stats, I didn't get a chance to watch the full game yet. I just looked at the box score and the highlights. But from what I did see, it is looking very promising for Jayden, and it looks like Lamar is just really hungry for his Super Bowl. He is so locked in on his postseason mission. He's really ready to just shut everybody up about what they say about him in the postseason. But I like what I'm seeing from the Commanders offensively. Their defense is not great, and I think I saw Jonathan Allen is going to be out for the rest of the season with an injury. So yikes! But that secondary needs some. I might need to go back there and do something because they're not looking great. That's not going to get them very far if they're thinking postseason. But this is a great look for them right now. They just have to hold up.
I'll tell you what, Josh, I'm going to pass it to you after this. But when I watched this game, I thought to myself, Lamar Jackson makes Lamar Jackson plays and all that. But the addition of Derrick Henry has freed up Lamar so much because Lamar was used to having to be their first, their last, their everything. And now that he has somebody that's not just capable, he got a dog next to him. Derrick Henry been getting about 400 carries per year since ninth grade. Them boys was going from algebra to 35 carries of Derrick Henry. That is crazy. And he's been sustaining that every year except the 1 year at Bama where he was the backup. And even then, he went off in a bowl game for like 150 or something crazy like that. So to see that he now has a running mate that can get it done at a high level, to see that Zay Flowers is coming along and doing this thing, the Ravens defense is objectively not good this year. They have been meh at best. And that offense has just delivered time and time and time again. And the last thing I'll say about it is this. We can have more than one black quarterback be great at a time. We can have that. And we're seeing that right now in the NFL. We're seeing multiple black quarterbacks. Say what you want about him. Pat Mahomes still black. You know what I'm saying? He's still black. You know, his baby,
he is.
But that brother's still black. I'm sorry. Don't cancel it for saying quadruple. It's a joke. We don't call it. We don't categorize people like that. But in all seriousness, that's a thing that happens. And Dellan, I'm mad that you said no to good football been played in DC. The DC Defenders was right there in the USFL. They won them a championship and everything, didn't they? Never mind. Anywho, Josh, tell me, what did you think about this game? Baltimore Ravens Commanders, what'd you think?
I think this is a very rare case in sports to where, technically on a box score, you got a winner and a loser. But even though you'd never want to see your team lose, if I'm a Commanders fan, I'm not angry or upset at that loss. And if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm happy with that loss. I'm happy with that win because if you look at it from the perspective of you're going against a team that's hot. And the Ravens started off the season slow. They've been hot. So two hot teams going against each other. If you're a team that has the defending MVP, if you're a team that has Derrick Henry, if you're a team that wants to win a Super Bowl, you have to win those games against those hot teams. Yeah. From the Commanders' perspective, I think the Commanders are exceeding far above expectations, right? Going into this season, I think when we did the preview of the season, I think I had the Commanders in third place, and I think y'all might have been similar. I don't think we were expecting this, but at the same time, you have the Commanders who gotten wins against Cleveland, Arizona, Cincinnati, and New York, which those are very winnable games, right? So when you're coming into a game where you're going against the defending MVP, you're going against a team that's favored to win the Super Bowl, you want to show up. Now, even though you lost, you only lost by one score.
They did show up.
So that means what you're doing right here is not a fluke. That means you got the right pieces, you got the right quarterback. Now it's a matter of building. You know, no Commanders fan was expecting them to go into the season and win the NFC East. So if you can already do that and then build on top of it, I think they're in the right. Even after taking a loss, I think they're in the right position. Especially their next 3 games are Carolina, Chicago, and the Giants again. I think they'll be fine.
That's fair. That's fair. Chris, what you got?
I'm gonna do one of the things we like to do on Facts Over Acts is you are who you're not who we think you are, right? Everybody keep talking about Caleb this, Caleb that. Is Jaden McDaniels not who everybody thought Caleb Williams was gonna be? Is he not? I mean, when you look at the scouting report, right? Caleb Williams can move around in the pocket, can throw on the run, can hit the receivers in tight windows, right? Jaden McDaniels done that to the T. Matter of fact, Jaden McDaniel has one of the longest rushing 1-yard rushes in the league right now, including running backs. Including running backs. So I think that this is a great time for the Commanders to really, really lean on him and kind of do some things that the Ravens should have did with Lamar, right? They should have really, made that team where it wasn't as Lamar dependent like they finally starting to do. But they got a 30-year-old running back now, right? And they realizing like, oh, if we would have got Derrick Henry a long time ago, we would have definitely made strides in the right direction. As far as this game goes, I think that the Baltimore Ravens, they inserted their dominance, right? They had to, right? The Ravens had some question marks at the beginning of the season. I'm a Steelers guy, and I'm saying like the Ravens are legit. They was gonna get it together. I never said the Ravens sucked, but they had to win this game in a way. I feel like. The Commanders, you playing with house money. You came in there underdog. You made it a close game, and you executed on that. So I think Jaden McDaniels is going to be all right. I think the Commanders are going to be all right. I think the Ravens are going to be all right. I think both teams got what they needed out of this game.
Okay, well, speaking of both teams getting what they needed, we saw some massive trades with some wide receivers going on the move in the NFL recently here. And fellas and Dellan, I need to understand here. I need to understand something. Please tell me, who do y'all think got the most better out of these trades? Which team do you think improved the most based upon their trades? You got the Bills trading for Amari Cooper, and you have the Jets reunited, and it feels so good. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae back together. Who do y'all think got better? I'm going to start with you, Josh.
I think that the Bills got better. Just because regardless of how much Devontae Adams still has left in the tank at 31 years old, going on 32, which in the NFL, that's almost ancient if you're any position other than a right guard or a quarterback.
Hey, kickers got some longevity. Harrison Butker going to be telling women to stay in the kitchen for at least 10 more years.
But regardless of that, even if Devontae Adams still has a lot left in the tank, you're still looking at Aaron Rodgers throw him the ball. Right. Which, as much as we might want to hold on to nostalgia, I don't think anybody in here, especially not me and Gibbs, because I'm a Lions fan. I hate Aaron Rodgers, right?
Same.
But he's still,
I hate him too. He beat the Steelers. What?
He's still at an age and is coming off of an injury to where I think 6 games is enough of a sample size to decide whether or not Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback that's going to lead you into winning. Now, when you're talking about a division that the Jets are in, when you're talking about the
Patriots,
the
Dolphins,
AFC,
and you got the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the
Adams
Bills.
is enough to get you over the hump to where the Jets will be in the playoffs. But once it's time for them to start going against the Chiefs, for them to start going against the Texans, for them to start going against the Ravens, possibly the Steelers, you put a lot of eggs in the basket trading for Aaron Rodgers. You didn't really trade much for Devontae Adams, but at the same time, that 3rd round pick can be a piece to a rebuild that you're desperately going to need, because if this project doesn't work out this year, which is not, you're looking at a team that's going to be rebuilding for the next at least 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah. Chris, what you got?
I think the Devontae trade speaks a lot of volumes because they did it right after a stink loss. And, I'm going to be that guy. I'm really going to be that guy. And Gibbs, I don't want you to punch me in the face for this with this next take, but that whole division sucked. both of them teams look sorry as hell out there yesterday. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold. I don't care. I don't care if Josh Allen won that game. They looked terrible. I mean, they were so out of sync. Quarterback throwing his receiver under the bus. Then happy he got his guy afterward. Josh Allen just not even really, converting and hitting on throws that we've seen him make before. Him acting like he don't need Diggs and clearly showing he needed Diggs last night because couldn't nobody catch a cold in Alaska butt naked. I mean, it was just ridiculous. That team is without Diggs. That team is pretty bad actually. Like it was hard to watch that game yesterday. I mean, Aaron showed flashes, but the Hail Mary was like, okay, Aaron, yeah, you can still do a couple things, but Aaron, you washed. It's over with. It's over with. You coming off an Achilles injury where you took a year off. By the time he get back to clicking where he was in Green Bay, he gonna be 40-41. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. And I'll be damned if Devontae go over there and make them be that much better. I mean, truth be told, I really like Miami this season. If Tua would stay healthy, I really like Miami this season in that division. They just Tua health problems are always a concern, but this division is just bad, bro. I want to just ball them up, throw them in the trash, make sure none of them make the playoffs because it's gonna be bad football.
I'm gonna let you finish this thing off, Dellan, but I'm genuinely confused as to why these teams traded in the way that they did. Amari Cooper went for what, a fifth and a seventh or something like that?
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was a sixth rounder in 2025, and the Bills received Cooper in the sixth, and for a third round pick and a seventh round pick in 2026. I'm very genuinely confused. I get it. You're not going to win with him. He's going to leave, all that good stuff. You could have found somebody that was desperate enough to give you a little bit more than that, a little bit more than that. But I'll tell you this much. The Jets are cooked on so many levels. People don't understand how bad and how dysfunctional that franchise is. Robert Saleh was hired to be a defensive head coach, turn the defense around, and, we're going to trust in Aaron to get the offense together. In Robert Saleh's last 3 games, they allowed 36 points. That's 12 points per game. That was the best in the NFL over that 3-game span. Does anybody want to guess what their record is? As a matter of fact, everybody, guess what their record is while allowing 12 points per game.
What team?
The Jets.
The Jets, they're 2-4?
No, but their last 3 games with Robert Saleh when that defense was cooking, they literally allowed multiple games of barely hitting double digits. Well, what do you think their record was by chance?
I think it's 0-4.
Their record in those 3 games where they allowed 12 points per game.
0-3.
1-2. I'm sorry, what? In today's NFL, where if you breathe on a quarterback wrong, they gonna throw you out the game. You could only put up 12 points. Yeah, that's not. And not only that, you bought in Aaron Rodgers. You bought in Nathaniel Hackett, who was his OC. You bought in Cobb. You bought in Lazard. You bought in all of Aaron's guys. You bought in. This reminds me of that old childhood story. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. You can't put ayahuasca Aaron back together. That Achilles went pop goes the weasel. He's an old, bitter, surly single man. He don't got it no more. We can't even tell him go be a family man. Go start a podcast telling us how the government is trying to microchip us, Aaron, because the football ain't for you no more. Go hock ivermectin on your fans or something because football is not for you no more, Aaron Del Monte Rodgers. It's not it. It's not it. And that's okay. The game passes everybody by. But I get it. These guys believe that they can do it forever because they did it at the highest level for a long time. So to me, I think you're adding another piece for Rodgers that he's comfortable with. Well, how the hell has Aaron done with all these other pieces that he's comfortable with? What happened? Your head coach got fired. When you were in Green Bay with all the pieces you were comfortable with, what happened? Oh, the head coach got fired. At what point in time do we stop looking at everybody else and start looking at the common denominator in all these situations? Dellan, I'm going to give you the last word and we're going to get on out of here.
I'm just going to go Bills because I think Aaron Rodgers is the problem. We just have to hope that he's not seeing the shadow man and, on psychedelics that day and has a good game with Devontae, but who knows? This isn't the same quarterback that everybody fell in love with 5, 6, 10 years ago. It's just not. Like you said, there's a lot of nostalgia that's just kind of roped through the NFL and just sports in general, where you see like that quarterback or that quarterback wide receiver tandem, and you're just like, oh yeah, the boys are back in town. No, I don't think that this is what this is going to be. And I'm cool with waiting and seeing, but I feel like Aaron has already shown us he's not who he is, and he's not who he was anymore. This is just kind of what it is. That was a great Hail Mary pass, a nice flash of, old school A-Rod.
Yeah.
That's not what it is anymore, though. Congratulations to the Bills for their pickup. I'm not really impressed with them right now either. I just hope everybody has fun, honestly. I'm just not impressed. I'm not.
I'm going to tell you, we got Raiders Dante Culpepper throwing to Raiders Randy Moss. That's what just happened for the Jets. Congratulations, Jets. You did it. You saved the city just the same way SpongeBob and Patrick did. Anywho, we know y'all tired of us talking about the WNBA, talking about the Dallas and what happened to them on Jerry's birthday, and of course, talking about some more Lamar disrespect. But come on back to next week, and the next week, and the week after that. We'd like to thank our esteemed guest, Dellan Sellars, so very much for gracing us with her talents today. Come on back next week. Peace and love, y'all.